Leadership is innate. In my understanding, I see leadership very differently. No comments, and I don't want to be offensive or offend anybody when I am going to share my perspective on leadership. When I have to analyze and compare the leadership skills, and when I see a historical leader as Imam Hussein alayhi salam that people highly talk about and embrace and brag so much about him, the goodness, the richness, and everything, I don't see him as a leader. Hussein was not a leader. You cannot put him in a position of a leader because that's not what leaders do. What Hussein did was not a sign of leadership. Leadership means taking care of your people with yourself and being diplomatically right and walking out with a solution. Leadership does not mean you put your people in trouble, make a big deal, and confiscate a whole story, whole drama, whole event around it and call it leadership. That's not leadership. I would call it a conflict. What happened in Karbala was a conflict. It had nothing to do with leadership. And that conflict happened because they were fighting for having the position and authority for a certain kind of an ummah of grandfather. So somewhere down the line, they have been choosing to have to draw their own kind of well and own kind of water so that they can run their own colonies, their own system, which was not falling in favor of the grandfather. No matter how much they say that we are trying to save the Ummah, you were not, because you've not realized one very important aspect of your grandfather, that he was married to, he had 11 marriages and he had collaboration distinctly with different parts of the world, and he had incorporated uh, people in the family and was someone who was accepting to different cultures. So when I see Hussein is a figure of a leadership that is not accepting. It does not accept people. It differentiates. It it has a caste system which keeps people at a one arm distance. And that is not what the ummah of grandfathers actually seen as. So Hussein is a very different face, and he's not a face of leadership. He does not qualify as a leader. I'm so sorry to say that. Imam Hussein alayhi salam does not qualify as a leader. He qualifies as a message of humanity. He qualifies as a tribute to humanity. He qualifies as uh, someone who has a good message on mankind. He does not qualify for the leadership. Leadership means having a control and taking strong decisions for your people. Hussein has not taken a single decision where any any man in the army or any women part of his crew has actually been at a very safe position. Everything that we know, how they suffered and how they were taken as a slave and all of that. Imam Hussein alayhi salam's leadership has not given his people a quality life. That is not what a leader does. That is not how the leadership executes. And it's not just education. You are buying education for people and you think that, oh, today my ummah is very educated and I am involving and having kids in my own people and we are growing. That is not leadership. That is not growth. Your growth is when a non Muslim, a non believer actually calls you a leader. That is when you are a leader. Otherwise, you are a preacher. You are not a leader. Don't call Hussein a leader. I can say today, yes, Narendra Modi is the leader because there are a lot of people who are not Hindu, lot of Muslim people who admire his leadership roles. And many might compare him with his actions for closing the water, whatsoever, people getting emotional about it. But I personally feel that is a decision which he is taking at national level and it should be recognized. There's nothing wrong about it. There are a lot of things he has done in offering free water by giving free taps available to various local places. And I think that is something which one should admire as a part of leadership that he's done in his own vicinity, you know. So when you talk about leadership, leadership means you need to have stronger hold on your decision making where you are not putting your people in trouble, where your people are secured, where your women are secured, where your women are free, where your women are having the freedom to breathe, speak, do whatever they want to do, live a happy life, a secured life. That is called leadership. When you have a choice of being with whosoever you want to be, that is leadership. Leadership is not dictatorship. It is not dictating, we're not dictating you that you have to do this. I'm dictating you that I belong to this caste and I'm gonna keep my nose very high. Or we are going to have a collaboration of someone from a higher caste marrying someone from a lower caste. And we are going to stink with this decision throughout our life. No, this is not leadership. Leadership is the freedom to let people make their own path, choose their own road, have their own radar set. That is leadership. So, when we really sit and try to, and we really sit and embrace and cry for Hussein, and we talk about everything that his crew has suffered and everything that has happened, the journey of Imam Hussein as salam and everything. There is nowhere I can really see that there is a leadership that people are talking about. Ali, you can say, is a leader. Yes, to some extent, you can say Imam Ali was a leader. There are a couple of things he has done good as a leadership, as a leader, having a leadership skills. Similarly, there are a couple of things which Abu Bakr has done good as a leader. So when we are really talking about leader, let's understand that leadership is a very big word and it means you are leading people somewhere where people are growing along with you. It's not just that you are growing. So you have to empower your people. That is your main role as a leader. Empowering your people is leadership. But when you're not empowering your people and when you're just empowering your own self at a position where you are making your people slaves and demanding, putting conditions in front of them, where you are asking that I expect this from you. I mean, it's a huge expectation. I'm so sorry to say that. It is a huge expectation. And I understand that this expectation has been set in this manner that uh, God wants to gift Fatima people to cry for his son because there was nobody to cry. It is, I don't know what to say. I had nobody in my, I did not had much crowd in my mother's demise. So, will God be gifting me people to cry for her every year? Just asking. Does it work like that? Did she achieve something in life? Has she achieved something in life? She's done a lot of majlises. She was a believer. Everything is an X to her. What are you getting as a believer? What are you getting as a follower of Hussein? Except food and clothes. Except food and clothes, what are you getting? And kids. Let's even keep that aside. One thing Hussein is really good at is giving kids to his community. Who was that lady? Who was that man who was not getting kids? And Hussein was really small. He was really young when he heard his grandfather saying that no, you cannot have children. And he ended up saying, no, I want to give you a lot of children. Go, I give you 2 kids. Go, I give you 3 kids. Go, I give you 4 kids. And ultimately, this man went back very happy and he eventually had a lot of kids. I don't know what science they used back then. But no, I, I don't want to be offensive and I don't want to offend anybody. But on a very serious note, I'm talking about leadership. I'm not talking about gawky stories that we hear and people just come and share and in the stories which are documented and we don't know. We don't know. This is story, that is story. I have a lot of stories. A lot of stories that I have self made and a lot of stories which truly exist. Which one are you going to believe more? I'm going to share both very strongly. You're going to have faith in which one depends on your understanding and acceptance and your limitation of acceptance, limitation of knowledge. Like for people in those days to accept this limitation that yes, God has divided the moon into two parts. That was their limitation of acceptance. A knowledgeable man today is sitting in Dubai with a future museum and he really knows what shit really happened back then. Hear this again and understand that there's a difference between a leader and there's a difference between a preacher. So Hussein is a preacher who had his own principles, who had his own concept of leading Umayyah, or what's that, Ummah, which he has foreseen that the Ummah incorporates his grandfather's extended family with 11 wives, while he was just choosing the selected righteous bloodline of grandfather. So that is not the way you run the ummah. If you're running the ummah of grandfather and if you're claiming I'm running the ummah of grandfather, that's not how you run the ummah of grandfather. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Rethink about leadership. Ask yourself this question, if I was in place of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, what will I do as a leader? Will I sacrifice myself? Will I let my woman be handheld by other men? Will I be so rigid about my demands that my family will starve with food and water? Why? Why would I want to own it? And then you're making a noha which says, मुझ पे क्यों बंद करते हो पानी क्या मोहम्मद का प्यारा नहीं? Why did you create that situation for yourself? that a know-how of this sort is coming today in the future for everybody. You are taking sympathy as a leader. You are begging sympathy. You are showing how weak you are, and that is what you are making your people. Today, if India has so many beggars, and that is because people kept asking and begging for water. People kept asking and begging for food. You have made your community a beggar community. This is what is the leadership of Hussein. I'm so sorry to say that. I am not going to appreciate this. I am not going to appreciate this after much of thought.